They threatened me because they print the Fox News Sunday guests the
Right.
night before in Politico, as you probably know. And so the White House called me the night before saying, we know that you're going to be loyal. You're President Biden's most loyal supporter, which like is so reminiscent of something you'd hear from The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
So they threatened me, and then I went on and said my piece anyway, that Biden should step aside. I got 2 to 3 angry phone calls on July 21st after my appearance on Fox News Sunday saying that Biden was too old. And then what do you know? That day he steps down.
Hey, I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report, and joining me today is a former Kamala Harris campaign advisor turned critic of the Democratic Party, Lindy Li. Lindy, welcome to the Rubin Report. What do you think of that intro? I had a couple different ways I could go to describe you in one sentence. Did that kind of capture it
Dave,
correctly?
that was perfect. That was nice. That wasn't vitriolic. It was exactly what I needed. Thank you. And it's such an honor to join you. Everywhere I go, actually, people mention your name. And hold you up as an example of someone who's really gained the loyalty and admiration of the entire party, including, by the way, Sean Spicer. He was just singing your praises the other day when I was on with his show.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And, you know, I said to you right before we started, this is the first time we've ever spoke, but we did chat for about 30 seconds before the cameras rolled, that I'm always interested in people who are evolving, who are thinking about things a little bit differently. And yours, especially to the backdrop of an election that was, you know, only 5 or 6 months ago, barely, is particularly interesting. But before we get into the evolution and how that all happened, can you just, for people that don't know you, can you just give a bit of your background? What led you to becoming a Kamala advisor? And then we'll get into the politics of everything. Well,
I think in terms of what led me to help support her campaign, we all fell into it because we were all supporting Biden's campaign. And as a member of DNC leadership, we had to do what we were told. There was no one asked for input or our feedback. As soon as he dropped out on July 21st, all of us got shunted to Kamala Harris's team. So I just want to let you know that there was no room for outside mediation at all. It was what the party wanted. And she wants the media to think, I'm writing a book and laying out the entire truth of it. She wants the media to think that, July 21st, Biden dropped out. I just found out I was going to be the nominee. That's not true at all. She had been vetting VP nominees prior to July 21st and getting ready for this ascension. But so in terms of why I supported her, it's because that's what the party told us to do. And I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, which I did. But then realized that she couldn't articulate a vision. She hid from the media for about a month. In the middle of a 107-day campaign, which speaks volumes about the quality of candidate she is. And by the end of mid-September, I just stopped fundraising. And by the way, I'm not a staffer. I was appointed to leadership. I did this in a volunteer capacity. I'm a mega donor. I donate my time and my resources. I donated buildings to the campaign because I wanted to. I'm not a staffer or consultant, just to be clear, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. And just tell me a little bit about your history even before you got involved in the Biden campaign and everything else, just so people have a little backdrop to the sort of pre-presidential politics, Lindy.
I was an investment banker at Morgan Stanley. Yeah. And then actually I've always wanted to run for Congress because, Dave, let me tell you, this is just the truth of it. If Republicans were one of my major issues is clean air and clean water. I really care about that. I was born in an authoritarian regime where pollution was so incredibly intense, where you could slide your finger down the window and then look at it and it's black. So I saw firsthand. The environment is a huge issue to me. If Republicans were stronger on that issue, I would have been Republican like 15 years ago. I'm just going to be very frank.
So you're an investment banker. You end up working in the administration. You were doing, and China obviously is the country that you're from. You were doing outreach for Asian American community with Biden. Then was there a point before Biden stepped down that you realized things weren't going right, either with his cognitive ability that many of us were talking about online, or just with the policies? I mean, were you feeling frustrations, or was it all that on the day they flipped the switch that you suddenly started seeing things differently?
Absolutely, Dave. And I'm going to name names. They know who they are. Throughout 2023, I raised concerns, actually before, but I really started redoubling my efforts about Biden's cognitive decline, because it was so apparent to me that there was something wrong here. And I've known Biden for a long time. I've known him actually not because of politics, but because I raised money for cancer research. Cancer research is something close to my heart. And I sat on the board of the American Association for Cancer Research. We met through that, through a non-political arena. So I saw the marked decline in Biden. He was not like this in 2017 or even 2019. I think the stresses of the office really accelerated his decline. I'm not a medical doctor, but that's just my guess, because it was so obvious to me. And I brought it up to Ken Martin. And do you know who Ken Martin is? Does that name ring a bell?
Ken Martin was like,
he's now the chair of the
deputy chief of, he's the chair.
He was the Democratic Party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was vice chair at the time that I brought it up. I said, don't you think there's something wrong here? Don't you think maybe we need a new candidate? And I said this to him in Chicago in 2023. I remember Wendell Pierce, the guy from The Wire, the actor, was standing next to me. My brother was standing next to me. So I said this in front of other people too. I was like, and he completely poo-pooed my concerns, like I was crazy, like I was some insane woman for bringing it up. I really felt like I was being, I felt crazy. He made me feel ridiculous for bringing it up. And then I realized I was being gaslit, and basically told I shouldn't believe my lying eyes. I approached him. I told Jen O'Malley Dillon, the chair, who ended up being the chair of the Biden-Harris campaign, about my concerns. She wrote down my contact info, never got back to me. So I made repeated attempts. I leaked to the press. I leaked to Politico, saying that Biden couldn't run. I reached out to party chieftains. I genuinely thought, Dave, I really wanted to, I thought that the Democratic Party would be the vehicle to save our country. I know there's going to be people who criticize me for saying that, but I tried so hard because I wanted someone who's actually capable of being commander-in-chief. And finally, sorry for talking your ear off. But
it's an interview.
In July 2024, I went on Fox News Sunday and I said it on air. Oh, before I did, they threatened me because they print the Fox News Sunday guests the night before in Politico, as you probably know. And so the White House called me the night before saying, we know that you're going to be loyal. You're President Biden's most loyal supporter, which is so reminiscent of something you'd hear from The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
So they threatened me, and then I went on and said my piece anyway, that Biden should step aside. I got 2 to 3 angry phone calls on July 21st after my appearance on Fox News Sunday saying that Biden was too old. And then what do you know? That day he steps down. Yeah.
So, do you think that the people that you were talking to that were gaslighting you or ignoring you or saying everything was fine, do you think that they genuinely felt that, or was everyone just kind of in on the unsaid thing? It sort of reminds me of the ridiculous right now, whereas I'm sure you know, about a month ago, Jake Tapper announced he has a book about the scandal around Biden's health. It's like, dude, you were running cover for it 3 years, while some of us were talking about it literally 4 or 5 years ago. So do you think it was like part people just protecting their turf, protecting their job, going with the system, part people that were manipulating him, part people just going along with the flow? Do you think it's just like multiple layers of everything?
I think you're totally right, Dave. And Jake Tapper in particular pisses me off so much because he's the one who went on air and repeatedly attacked people for bringing it up. Shaming
Lara
people
Trump,
like me, like making me feel crazy. But I will say, his cognitive decline notwithstanding, he was always kind to me. I do want to make that clear. This is very hard for me to do. Biden was always kind to me, but that doesn't negate the fact that he was wrong for America. And I can only apologize as it took me a while to see it. Because I knew him, in a private capacity through the cancer research. He treated me and my parents so well. And I kind of please forgive me, but I judge people kind of according to how they treat my parents, whom I love. Like, they were just so good. And my parents are immigrants. So for them to meet the United States president was just such an overwhelming experience. And I'm so glad that President Biden was gracious. but he was just completely wrong. He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have run. He certainly shouldn't have run a second time. But with Jake Tapper, he wasn't in the room in any. I've never seen him at any event. So all the intel from his book is secondhand. And he was one of the foremost proponents of the lie. Dave, let's be honest what it was. It was an outright lie.
Yeah.
That he was cognitively flipped, that he was basically a genius behind closed doors. His book basically is like a slap in the face to those of us who are punished for bringing it up. And I mentioned the White House, but I also got booted off of MSNBC and CNN. I used to be on it all the time. I was a regular. After I raised the age issue, I was only on MSNBC once. And that was it. And every time somebody would book me, I would find out like 5 minutes before the hit that Ian Sams, the White House spokesperson, would be replacing me. And the first time it happened, I was like, okay, that sucks. Yes, I got my hair ready and everything. That sucks. But life happens. But then it happened again and again and again. I was like, okay, this is clearly something's up here.